Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday today, so we're ready to wake up and resell with the Reseller Revenue Facebook group. So we meet Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m. Central Time for about an hour and talk about different kinds of topics that are relevant to us. I try to have the topics set out for the week and I post them in our Facebook group. So if you'd like to join, please go to the Reseller Revenue Facebook group and join there to see us. And we also have a YouTube channel that's also under Reseller Revenue where we put various videos that we do in here that I record. The rest of the videos are all in Patreon. So Larry's will be uploaded here. It just came through this morning right before the call. So Larry's from yesterday was a good one. Be uploaded here in a little bit. So we've been discussing our bookkeeping, which I know is everybody's favorite thing to talk about. Kevin wasn't in here the first part, but we were I had mentioned that, you know, if that nut can be cracked, anybody can be for at least easing into bookkeeping. Doesn't mean we have to be perfect, but something is better than nothing. And it will give us a little insight into our business so we can make good decisions. Because otherwise, we can't make reactive decisions based on numbers that we don't have. So we're going to start collecting data on Thursday in the serious sellers call. You do not have to have a certain type of income to make that call. It is anybody that's basically taking their business seriously. You know, eBay is not a hobby, it is a business for them, and that they are tracking all their numbers and willing to share their numbers. And then I think after the first of the year, we'll evaluate whether people would like to have a high earners call or not. And the qualifications for that will just be that you're on track to do 75K for the year. So that means looking backwards, if you had a great fourth quarter and let's say you did $20,000 or something fourth quarter, we could say that you're on track. You know, it's possible that you're going to do the 75. So I would consider that as a qualification. So I want to give everybody this last fourth quarter to really just knock it out of the park and show that you're on track for that if you'd like to participate in that call. So we'll talk about that after the first of the year when I have a little more time.
Gross
So
or net?
that can be gross. 75 gross. So, and basically that call is not, you know, to pat ourselves on the back. It's because people that are really trying to make that much or are making that much are lots of times have great ideas to share with each other. You know, little things that are pushing them to the next levels could maybe help push us to the next level. So it's more of like a round table to help each other out more than a you know, me teaching you something. It's more of let's teach each other something about what we're doing. Or sometimes when you get to certain levels, I was discussing this yesterday with a few people, it gets harder and harder to grow year over year when you get to a certain level or when you hit certain goals and milestones. And sometimes we get stuck. And the best people to help us get unstuck are people that have been there and have worked through it themselves. So sometimes things we can't see because we're too close to it are things that somebody else can see right away. So that's my thought process on that. So let's get through fourth quarter. Let's knock it out of the park. Let's get everybody to where they want to be, and then we'll go from there on that. Thursday, we're going to start collecting data for the serious sellers group. And like I said, no income goals are needed, no income, you know, threshold or anything. But let's say last Thursday you listened and you were like fired up about it and you were excited to do it and then you froze and you didn't, or you started trying to do your numbers and you just can't find your way, so to speak, with bookkeeping. It's okay. You know, it's Tuesday, right? So we have a couple days. It's fully doable for you to get a week's worth of data entered in somewhere to get the correct numbers for 1 week, and you have to start somewhere. So if you start this week and this is the week that you're starting with your number tracking, it's fine. If you need help, reach out to me. I will help get you on track for this week. Once you start doing it, it'll get easier and easier and easier. So for the serious sellers group, we're going to only need to, I'll share my screen here. Maybe. We'll see what tab it's under. Do you guys see a spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this is not Larry's great spreadsheet he made for us. Larry made an amazing spreadsheet. This is what your spreadsheet would have made if I was in charge of making the spreadsheet. This is how simple and archaic it would have been. So Larry's spreadsheet's amazing compared to mine. But my point of showing you this is because this is how simple it is. There's like a couple things you need to be able to do, but besides that, this is actually what your spreadsheet would look like. The net profit number and the average cost of goods sold number seems to be where people are getting stuck, and I've had the most questions the last couple of days on. But if you set like for the net profit and you have a Google sheet that looks like this, and you're just trying to get the hang of figure out your net profit, and you don't use Cheryl's workbook, because Cheryl's workbook will do this for you. It's this simple. It's actually this simple. And I do not recommend line by line accounting because it does take up a lot of time. However, if you're just starting this, or you're just starting the process, or you're a new seller, line by line accounting can be really useful because it makes you really see where you are and what you're making or what you're not making. So for the net profit number that I asked for on Thursday, how you get that is your item sale price, which in the sales tab is under item subtotal. If you do like individual items, it's under your order details. All of this is really clear under order details, under each individual order. And it'll say item subtotal. So that's basically your sales price. Minus the discounts. That's like your coupons. I'm not sure if markdowns show up there or not. But it'll say discounts, clear as day. Then transaction fee. That's your fee from eBay just for selling on their platform or whatever category you're in. Very clearly stated there in the order details. Then minus ad fee. That's if you're promoting your listings. If you're promoting your listings, you will have an ad fee, and that's right there. So your earnings is it's stated there too. Basically, that's what money that's what your earnings for that item were. Right? And then we have to take away cost of goods sold because we had to pay for the item. That's your average cost of goods sold. I do not want you to have to figure out what each individual item is and what you spent and how much it was. Nope, it's your average cost of goods sold. So you could have the same number in this column for a long time because until or it might change by a penny or it might change by 10 cents. It's just your average cost of goods sold. And that leaves you with your actual realized profit on that item. That's all we have to know. And then we figure out the average net profit just by we can add that up and divide it by how many lines there were. It's that easy. Cheryl's workbook will do this for you, so I highly recommend it. But if you don't have it, you're not out of the game. And this is very tedious line by line. But you can also figure this when you get a hang of this, then you could do it and just add it all up, with your bookkeeping, however you're actually keeping your books. This is just the equation of how to get there. It doesn't have to be this way. But I just wanted to break it down to the absolute as simple as possible, how to figure out your net profit per item. Because are these requirements for the higher group? This is just for the serious sellers group, Catherine. So this is the one that we meet at 11 o'clock on Thursdays. So we're just sharing our numbers every week. Literally, I'll go through the spreadsheet, ask your name. You'll rattle off the numbers I'm going to show you, but this is one of the numbers on the sheet. So, but everybody should know their net profit per item. If you don't know how much money that you're getting to keep after each of your transactions on average, that's dangerous. You should absolutely know your realized net profit per item on average. If you don't, that's dangerous waters. The other question I've been asked a couple times since we met on Thursday was, how do you figure out your average cost of goods? Super easy. It's just if you do it line by line, just to get the hang of it, it's your total cost of a purchase. So it's not just like, well, these are what I kept. It's your total, like you go to Goodwill, you spend $100, you get home and you thought there was gonna be 10 items, really there's only 5 items or 4, let's say 4 items to list. Well, then your average cost of goods sold was $25. You don't get to divide it by everything you thought you were gonna get to list. It's your individually listable items. If you make a lot, which I do lots of lots, that's one individually listable item. So total purchase divided by how many listable items did you have? That's your cost of goods sold. And to get the average, you just add them up and divide them by how many transactions you had. It's that easy. So that's one number I've been asked this week. These are the numbers I will ask for on Thursday. 90 days sold. Everybody knows how to get that, right? Pick your phone or pick the laptop or, your computer. Don't go back and forth. And so we have sorry, I was reading the chat. So these are the numbers last. So don't go back and forth. Either use the 90 days sold off your computer or use the 90 days sold off your phone, because they are different. Why I don't really know, but they are. So keep one, stay with it. Number of items sold this week. This is just it kind of just gauges us on how we're doing, because later on down the road, when we get more complex equations, like when somebody says, hey, I want to net $100,000 this year, I can go back and say, and they say, well, I sell about 20 a day. And then we go back and we have actual data that no, you really actually only sell about 12 a day. So we don't want to base your goals and your plans and your, formulas based on something that's not true. But the number of items sold, easily found under your sales tab. It'll tell you on the time period you choose. As far as time periods, I'm going to, for easy math with you guys, my week, I'm going to make Thursday through Wednesday, so that then on Thursday I'm ready every week and I have a new week of data. But if you do a Monday through Sunday or whatever your week is, it's fine. Just be consistent with that time period for a week. It doesn't really matter as long as it's the same number of days. How much you sold during that time period. And then, and we decided that this was going to be this is the net. This is the blue box on the right. This is not your gross number. This is your blue box on the right. I'll grab the chat when I'm done here. And the number listed, you have to track this number. eBay does not track this number for you. You can, however, go back and see on the emails when it says that it's been listed. If you need to go backwards, you can see how many you listed that way on eBay. Average COGS, we talked about that last, on the other spreadsheet, right? So you know how to get that, and you know how to get your average net profit. These are core numbers that we can base more complex conversations on down the road. That was my thinking with these numbers. This is not like your bookkeeping snapshot. This is not your accounting snapshot. This is strictly for the fact that if we have these real numbers, there's no guesswork in them. There's no opinion in them. There's no, well, I think, right? So I don't want you to come Thursday and say, well, I think. No, we know, because math is math, right? So if you need help figuring out how to do the math, I'm more than happy to help you figure that out. So these are the numbers I'm going to ask for. We have drop down boxes that Larry made an amazing spreadsheet. We'll have, we'll put your name in. You do have to be willing to share. We do not have to record this, or we can record it and only leave it to the group. So it will not be on YouTube. And you just have to be comfortable to share those numbers in that room. That's it. So I really think once you get comfortable with it, you'll be glad you did it. And then we can make different decisions based on it. So I'm going to stop sharing this just for just a minute. I'm going to go answer a few questions. I'm sorry, Kevin, I can't move it. I'm pressed. But you can send it to me, or if you need help separately, we can still catch your numbers so that you get to participate.
I always need help.
Yep, no problem. Catherine asks, are we reporting on the average COGS that we spent that week, or reporting on average COGS for the items we sold? So we never go back and figure out our cost of goods line by line. So our cost of goods is always either going to be a rolling number. So like in Cheryl's workbook, it just keeps going all year. You can cut it off every month, but it just keeps rolling over. Mine, I just let keep go all year.
I have that too. I just didn't know if you wanted specific, like what did we spend that week, or what did
Nope.
we spend on what we sold that week?
It's the exact same thing on the fact that if you know what you just have to know that if you like, let's say Catherine calculates it that way, then Catherine needs to come up and calculate it that way every time. Right.
Okay.
That is a consistency number. So like
But
mine,
I can just bring in my average cost of goods, just my
yeah, like on Cheryl's
numbers.
workbook, it's got it at the top. That number's fine. I let mine go like that all year because my business runs on a year-long thing. It's not every day, every week. So it just keeps rolling, and you'll notice the longer you do it, it doesn't really fluctuate that much, even if you have a really expensive month, because it's such an average. So
Okay, I just didn't know if you wanted something
Yep.
more
Nope.
specific. Okay.
No, because that gives you a really good look. Larry says on bookkeeping, how brutal is an audit when you don't have receipts for purchases? Will they take bank transaction records? Oh, they are brutal. Yeah, I've been in lots of audits. And if you don't have that receipt, they aren't going to probably allow your deduction. Bank transactions work for cash, but you better have something in writing that you've been keeping through the year that traces it back to what it was. But yes, ultra brutal, I would say. Especially if they find any inconsistencies whatsoever. So lots of people say, well, I have my bank statement, my credit card statement, right? Nope, you better have a receipt, because they're going to look at that and go, that could have been anything. Like, you say it's that, but it could have been anything. And then they add those back in, let's say you've taken them as a deduction. This was 3 years ago. They add all those things back in, and then you got to go back and pay tax and penalty on it. And it's not fun. Been there, done that with people. So don't, yep, gotta have those receipts. That was the next one of the things I was going to talk about this morning is, so, we all get busy. We all have really good intentions with our bookkeeping, right? A lot of times. And our intentions kind of like, life happens stuff. I keep a like old bank bag in my car, and I put a little notebook in there too. So I write my mileage down, just scribble it down, that easy. Just scribble it down. I was using MileIQ, but like my internet's not great everywhere. So like sometimes it pick it up, sometimes it didn't. I don't know, it just wasn't always great for me. And I'm in different vehicles. So I just scratch down my mileage, pen and paper, and I leave the pencil in my car in that bag. And then when I have a receipt from anywhere, I throw that receipt in the bag. And then every so often I take them all in, and then I put a little check mark on them as I record them. It's super easy. I have a little stapler in there too, in case I need to staple stuff together. If I have a cash transaction, that also gets put down in the notebook. So if I spend cash at a garage sale, a flea market, whatever, scratch down the date, location, and approximately what I bought and spent. That usually will work for an auditor. The only thing you need to remember is they want to know where that cash come from, right? So we have to be able to show where that cash came from. If we want to say it was our personal money, well, that's okay, but they're going to ask where that money came from. So that's when your bank transactions come into play. So then you could say, well, I have an ATM receipt. I took $200 out. I spent 50 this week, 50 that week, 100 that week. That works. You just keep that money rolling until it's gone. That's fine. They are definitely sticky on that stuff. There's no doubt about it. And once they find one thing they can pick about, they're kind of like eBay when you're on their radar. Now they're just going to pick you apart the way it is. It's not scary as long as you're keeping your stuff right, but it's just keep your stuff right and you're all right. But I keep those in my car. I write it down, I track them. Mileage is one of the high audited things, because it's a huge deduction for lots of us. So make sure, and actually when you are doing your taxes now, there's a line on the tax form that says, is this information in writing? And apps are okay too, but it'll say, is this deduction in writing? So it's very important to have that. And they're really smart for people that recreate the thing once they get the audit notice that it's all in the same pen and stuff. They're pretty onto that. So, and don't put like your miles as like even numbers. It's kind of like when I asked you what your cost of goods are and you're like $4. Yeah, no, it's not, so same with mileage. So just keep track of it, do the best you can. If you haven't been doing it, you start now. It's so much better than nothing. Just start now. We all have to start somewhere. Start now. I'm going to show you. I downloaded like an empty one of Cheryl's notebooks for those of you that hadn't seen it. It's here. So this is one of Cheryl's. This is the 2024 of Cheryl's notebooks. It's just an empty one that I downloaded so that people could see what it is. Super, super informative, easy to So Lynn, in writing is anything in writing. Excel spreadsheet is good enough. You can have it typed out. They will sometimes ask, well, how did you remember that when you got back in the house? They will ask that. That's why in pencil and paper in your car is the best. But people use the apps too. So Excel spreadsheet's fine as long as, you know, you have stuff to back it up. So here is Cheryl's workbook. Seems a little daunting at first, but it's like really easy. This workbook could not be easier to use. This top part only applies if you want to track it weekly. If you're just starting out with this and you're just starting your numbers, weekly is the easiest because you don't get as overwhelmed. But if you don't want to do it weekly or you've been doing this for a while, then monthly, like I do mine monthly. So monthly is right here. So same thing. You don't fill out both. It's this or this is what we're filling out. So yeah, Kevin.
Hey, I've been doing this, and a little hang up that I've been having is the outside ship line. Because I do use pirate ship quite a bit for
Mhm.
my eBay shipping, but I also use pirate ship to send labels to people when I purchase their stuff. And it's quite a challenge to navigate how to separate that from my eBay shipping to figure out what that true number is.
So you would want to keep, so the one that you are sending to them for them to send you stuff, that would be an expense and you would record it under expenses, not the outside shipping.
Right. But to
Piece it apart
get
in
that,
pirate ship,
yeah, when I'm in pirate ship to try and find that number, it's really hard to
right? Yeah,
navigate
and
that.
unless you keep a spreadsheet going, you know, the end of that answer, whether this is good, bad, or ugly, Kevin, is you have it to back you up in pirate ship. You know, you've spent the money, it's legit. If you put it on all on the outside shipping line, it might skew what it looks like for net profit per item. But realistically, that's truth because you had to spend that label to buy that item anyway. So it is part of your cost of that good. So because you had to send them a label for them to send it to you, that is part of your cost of goods.
Okay.
So it's okay. Either way you put that in there that makes it easiest for you. Either way, it's going to wash out because you spent the money legitimately. I go in and I print off or actually I just save it to a file in my computer. You know, pirate ship, um, you know, Amazon when I have business expenses, auction invoices, because you know what, those sites can go down. They probably won't forever or anything, but once in a great while, I'll just go and I'll save my business expenses out of there, save the files so that if God forbid I couldn't get logged in or something, I still have that information to back me up. I don't do it like every day or every month even. Just once in a while I will do that because it just makes my life easier.
Hey,
Um,
Kevin, just real quick. Melanie said that you can do two different payment options. So you can set one payment option up for everything you're buying, and
right.
then one for everything you're shipping. And then you'll be able to sort that way. The other option would be to add a second address. So you would ship from your address that you always do, and then anything you buy to bring to you, just change your name and put, Kevin Bowers the second. That
Mhm.
way, anything that has the second as the ship to address would be an incoming versus outgoing. Just a couple of options for
They'll
you
just let you
to keep
filter
it
it.
easy to separate.
But either way, when you send them the label, that's part of your cost of goods sold. So, and the other one's outside shipping. So that's how you would divide that up if you can get it out of pirate ship that way. But it probably feels a little overwhelming at first, but the way she has it set up is super easy. So lots of these numbers roll over from other places. Don't ever type in the green box. The green box gets done for you. You don't ever have to put anything in the green box. This is like a quick fast and you know, she has so many great videos. And we can do things more in depth at a later time if you want. I'm just showing you the worksheet. I'm not trying to show you how to run it necessarily. So um your average cost of goods sold, she has a calculator for that in here. So that would just get plugged in there. And then listed, you have to keep track of that. We have to know how many we're listing every day. And I honestly believe that the blank calculator method is just super easy for me. I just make hashtags, or I just write down what I listed that day, and then I add them up. Number of sold, you can make that report, on eBay, super easy. She's even got the link here for you. You hit that link, it takes you right to your performance sales page. So easy, easy. Sales, same thing. eBay net. Outside shipping is like pirate ship. So if you're shipping with pirate ship, or you take to the post office, anything but eBay shipping. So then this will all calculate for you. And my favorite number here, by far, that it calculates for us is our net profit, net profit per item. And that'll calculate here, average list per day, sold per day. This gives us our profit margins, our return on investments. So I mean, just a wealth of information this calculates for us. And some of the ways it does that is on average COGS. So people get hung up on this, and they get kind of worked up that, hey, I already entered this in expenses. Why am I having to do it again here? So here is one of, you hear me say all the time, bookkeeping and accounting are not the same thing. They are not the same thing. They're related, but they are not the same thing. So here is expenses. So like you would have an expense, and she has nice little drop down boxes for what's, I guess I have to write something in there, of what it is, or what you bought it for, any of those things. But expenses, here's your categories. There's your categories. So there's your cost of goods sold and inventory purchases. She's got it all broken down for you. So this here in expenses is an accounting thing. This is for your taxes, right? So you're going to enter your cost of goods in here as an expense for your taxes. This average cost of goods calculator, this is for your bookkeeping. This is to help us make good decisions. So yes, your COGS go in here too, but you do not have to fill out the whole thing. You can if you'd like to collect more information, but you don't have to fill all this out. Literally all you have to fill out, and the only thing I fill out, is number of items I purchased, my total purchase price. That's it. I don't fill out this rest of the stuff, and I don't have to. If I was wanting to make sure I was tracking, like, hey, what store gives me the best deals, maybe I would filter it that way. But I just put number of items, my total purchase price, including shipping, taxes, everything I paid, and it will figure it out. And then up here in this green box right here under G, that's my rolling average cost of goods sold. So this number will continuously change as I put the numbers in here, which is great. Just keeps going all year. I'll keep that. I'll start it over next year. So that number will just continuously update itself with each line I put in. Love that part of it. Works great. This is your accounting part. This is for your taxes. So your cost of goods sold will go in here too. And you do need to fill it all out because it's going to go for your taxes. I would fill out all of this. Your mileage, she makes it super easy to fill in, and you can take as car 1 through 4 here, and you can fill in anything that you need to do or want to do, or super easy. Makes it as easy as it can be. Also take pictures of your speedometer every once in a while. Makes it easy too. Beginning of the year, end of the year for sure. Total snapshot, that'll all be easy peasy for you. So this is my favorite sheet by far. I could not possibly recreate this to the extent that she has and make it work as seamlessly as what she does. Yes, Carolyn.
Yeah, as far as this software, Cheryl's bookkeeping sheet, accounting sheet, QuickBooks, any kind of software that you use for either accounting or bookkeeping, it can be as powerful as you want it to be. The same way that we approach eBay, that, well, do I have to fill out all those item specifics? If you do, you'll probably get a better sale, a quicker sale, a sale with more money. The same way you use that to approach accounting software and bookkeeping software. The more you want to put into it, the better picture you're going to get of what your business is. If you only want to know the basics and you just want to skate by with, doing the bare minimum, do that. At least it will give you the figures for it. But if you really want to have a true figure, like Carrie was talking about, as far as the, the cost of goods sold and figuring out where the best places are, you may think where you're getting the best deals, but ultimately after, say you get the, your inventory home and half the stuff isn't any good because you missed stains or whatever, or, for whatever, or they're just not as good a sale as you thought they would be. It can be really powerful if you want it to be. So just keep that in mind, that you can do very basic information with this spreadsheet or other spreadsheets from either QuickBooks or your own that you do, like Stacia does. But it's what you want to get out of it is the most important part of it. And if you really want to have a powerful tool to help you manage your business, that Cheryl sheet is enough to do it. Trust me, it is. It's just depending on what you want to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Carol is totally right. I also like it will compute for us right here when we put in what we paid for eBay shipping and the outside shipping is up there. It'll tell us if we made money on shipping or we lost money on shipping, which is important for like everybody. But for like me with mine, I offer free shipping on orders over $50. And I don't mind doing that. But overall for the month, I'm still always a little positive on my shipping, even offering that free shipping on the over $50 orders. And so it just helps me make sure I know where I'm at on that and make sure I'm not, same way with, it tells you how much your ad, what was your average ad rates, how much sales were promoted and sold promoted. And it's just a great tool. People ask me all the time about, whether I would use QuickBooks. So I've used QuickBooks since before it was QuickBooks, Quicken and, kind of archaic QuickBooks. And QuickBooks is a great program. It's not made for resellers. So will it get your taxes done? It absolutely will. You can absolutely get your accounting done for your taxes successfully with the QuickBooks for reselling. The bookkeeping aspect where we can make good decisions on a month-to-month basis, I feel like that worksheet does a much better job because it's catered to resellers. But the other will work. And if you just make a regular spreadsheet yourself on Excel, you can get it to do both. You can have your bookkeeping and your accounting fine. I just, I've been making financial spreadsheets for a long time and I couldn't recreate one as good as hers. I was very skeptical at first. I was like, I can do this myself. I make these things all the time. You know what? I don't know that I could have made one that good. And why try when it's right there for us to use? And it did have the home office deduction too. But so I'm going to leave the YouTube portion right now. If anybody wants to join us, we're on Reseller Revenue Facebook group. And then we will talk about where we're at on this stuff.